Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the North Carolina Tar Heels Dynasty, where we had a very successful season. We had a perfect run till the playoffs. We were 13-0, 12-0 in regular season, and then we were knocked out in the first round of the playoff. Now, our season started out with a pretty good win against Minnesota. We had a dominant win against Charlotte and FCS Southeast, and then James Madison, and that's where conference schedule started. First up was a game against Duke, which was a rivalry game. We won that pretty handedly, just like the game against Pittsburgh as well. And we were not really challenged at all through these games. We had a game against Georgia Tech that was also pretty decisive victory. And then we had a tough game against Virginia, which we did win by 5 points. And then we had the game that I thought we were going to lose. And Florida State just couldn't pull off their offense. We had a rain game and we just beat them up. And then the game against Wake Forest and Boston College, those two games were close again. And then NC State, I actually don't know how we pulled that off. Had a very close victory there. And then a dominant win against Miami, which I also really couldn't explain to myself. But yeah, and then we were knocked out against Ohio State with a couple of ridiculous plays. But let's go through the stats of the season. I actually hadn't realized until now that I'm making this video, we didn't throw a single interception this entire season. Johnson had 25 touchdowns and 0 picks in his senior season. Omarion Hampton ran for more than 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, only had 1 fumble the entire season. So that means we had 1 fumble from our running back, no picks from our quarterback, and then maybe a receiver had a fumble or something, but we had less than 3 turnovers or something the entire season. And then Dean Barlow was kind of a relief running back, mostly in the fourth quarters and stuff. He's also a senior, so he's also going to be gone. And we have Jordan Louis, who got 62 yards on 10 carries, but didn't see the field too much. We have Bryson Nesbitt as our top receiver, the tight end with almost 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, with an average of 19.5 yards per reception. That's really good. He also had a lot of racks, 7.7 yards per reception. And yeah, he played almost 1,000 downs. Which, well, that's what you do if you play a 16-game season. Well, I mean, in this case, it was a 14-game season, but like, he played a lot. He played almost all the snaps. We had J.J. Jones. He was a pure red zone threat, and he had far too many drops, but he's gonna graduate this year. Probably not gonna go to the NFL, but he had 12 touchdowns and close to 800 yards. And then Nate McCollum got 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. We had Omarion Hampton also for 24 receptions, 191, 0 touchdowns through the air. Kobe Paysor had 155 and 0 touchdowns. That kid also has a drop issue, and he's going to be the lead receiver next year because he's the best guy of the bunch that's not going to be graduating. Jake Johnson had 3 catches for 54 yards, and that's good news because that guy is going to be our new starting tight end next year. We have Gavin Blackwell, 53 yards, no touchdowns, and he has a deal breaker and might transfer away maybe. He's a junior, and yeah, he would definitely probably be starting next year. And then Barlow had just a few catches, nothing too important, but he had a touchdown as well. Then for the defense, we had Power Eccles, 192 combined tackles, which led the nation. 70 solo tackles as well, as pretty ridiculous in 14 games, and 122 assists. Unbelievable. Our 3 safeties that we put on the field also had close to 100 tackles each. And then for TFLs, we have Kamon Rucker, 36 TFLs. And obviously those 18 sacks count in there, but that's still 18 run stop TFLs as well. And then Desmond Evan had 28 TFLs. That is a lot as well. And then our primary run stopper in the middle, Javari Ritzy, had 18. Even Power Eccles had 15. Kamon Rucker had 18 sacks. pretty good season. He was very, very good. I really liked his skill set. He was very dominant. But he's a senior, so he will be gone. And the same is true for our number 2 pass rusher with 12 sacks, Desmond Evans. He is also going to be gone, as he's going to be graduating. For interceptions, we had 2 for Power Eccles, 2 for free safety Jakeem Harris. Both of those guys are also going to be gone next year. We had 2 for freshman Caleb Lavalley. He's going to be starting next year, probably. Depends on the development, but or like off-season training. We had 2 for Elijah Huzzy, who is also going to be graduating. He's not coming back. And Tavius Lane. He is also a senior who's going to be graduating, and he was the one that cost us the postseason run because he got out of place on that cover 4 call and allowed the deep touchdown. And then we had DeAndre Boykins, who's a junior and is going to take over, and Tavius Lane's duties in the back there as a strong safety. Then we had Tyrone Stewart with another pick. He's also going to be back. And then 4 fumbles, and Tavius Lane forced 2 fumbles. That's pretty good. His coverage was not the greatest we've ever seen, but at least he produced some turnovers. And then we have Power Eccles with forced fumble, Caleb Lavalley, Jakeem Harris. Everybody got in on the action. And then K'Mon Rucker, only 1 forced fumble as a dude that had 18 sacks. That's kind of ridiculous. Like a guy like that, you would imagine produced like a strip sack every now and then, but he only had 1 sack the entire season. And then for special teams, we have a kicker here, 82% on field goals. Most of the missed ones were pretty long ones, so nothing surprising there. And punter pretty average, nothing to talk about there. Omarion Hampton actually led the nation in rushing yards and is tied for the lead in rushing touchdowns. 4.9 a carry, 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, and on over 400 attempts, he had only 1 fumble. That's ridiculously good. And then for receiving, Bryson Nesbitt was 3rd in the entire nation for receiving yardage. 1,365, only beaten by 2 other guys. Didn't quite have the touchdown numbers, but for sure a great season, and he's going to go to the NFL now. Now, sack leaders, we have a bunch more that went over 18, so K'Mon Rucker is not going to lead anything, but he's 2nd in the ACC at least, behind Ruben Bain. 3rd in the ACC is going to be Desmond Evans, who is also on our team, and that's pretty good news for this last season, but both of those guys are going to go, and I don't think we have the talent on the roster to replace them. For records, we have a new season rushing yards record here for Omarion Hampton, 2,036 yards. We have a receiving yards record broken at UNC for Bryson Nesbitt with 1,365. That is also a new record. And the 3rd UNC record we broke was K'Mon Rucker with 18 sacks. So those are all numbers that are going to be on this record board for, well, let's see how long. 18 sacks is probably not going to be broken too soon, but those receiving yards, I think we might be able to break them over the next few years. And then we're going to go to the players leaving stage. We have Omarion Hampton, projected to be a 1st rounder. He's a junior, but even if there was a persuasion chance, I am not going to pursue him because he is so good and he deserves to go. And if somebody's projected at running back to go to the draft at all, I'm not going to try to persuade them. We will, however, persuade Gavin Blackwell, and we fail at that. So he is also transferring. He's going to go away. I actually forgot to look up where he went ultimately, but we'll see. He's also not like a huge deal. He's a 71 overall receiver. I don't think that matters too much. And then we have a tight end here, Nick Hollings. 66 overall. I wouldn't usually persuade him to stay, but we don't really have many tight ends, and we just graduate 2, as you'll see in a few seconds down the list. So I want as many tight ends on the roster as we can at this point, just to have some depth and have our true freshmen be able to be redshirted. Now, we have Hampton projected to go first round. We have Kamon Rucker projected to go second round. And then Willie Lampkin and Bryson Nesbitt are projected to go 7th round. And then Power Eccles, 87 overall, is usually good enough to also get drafted. So I am pretty optimistic that he's also going to get drafted. Cutoff is usually 85, 86 overall, so 87 should usually do it. But we're graduating the entire core of this team that brought us an ACC championship and got us to the playoffs. These are the most important players we had. Hampton as the runner, Nesbitt as the receiver, and Rucker as the pass rusher. And then we also lose the cleanup man in the middle of the defense and our best O-lineman. So those are all people that are going to be gone, and those are the 5 best players on our roster. And even more than that, our kicker, 84 overall, he's also going to be gone. And then we lose 2 safeties here, Antavius Lane and Jakeem Harris. Both of them were pretty solid, not great safety or anything. Nobody caught like 7 picks or had 5 forced fumbles or anything, but that's still something to lose. We are also going to lose Desmond Evans, so we're not just going to lose our sack leader, we are losing 30 sacks from last year with this graduate class. We also lose our number 2 corner, Elijah Huzzy, and that's where we are starting to see players emerge, because we still keep our number 1 corner. He's a true junior, and I'm pretty excited about him. Marcus Allen, he's going to stay. We lose our quarterback with a 0 interception season, Max Johnson. He is graduating. We lose our top receiver, and JJ Jones. We have a tight end here in Copenhagen. A couple defensive tackles that were also playing a lot of the snaps last year. We lose our backup running back as well. We lose our starting center, a backup quarterback, the starting left guard. We are graduating so many players that played a role this year. And I don't really feel great about our chances to replicate this next year, just seeing how many players are actually leaving this team. And then, yeah, we're going to take a quick look at some career stats of our best players that are leaving. We have Omarion Hampton here, who not only had 2,000 rushing yards, he also had 1 pass, 1 completion for 1 touchdown, 2 yards in the red zone in one of the first games of the season. He had 2,000 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns with only 1 fumble. He had 83 broken tackles. That is about a broken tackle rate of 20%. And then we have him as a receiver here as well, almost 200 yards. So that's about 2,200 yards from scrimmage and 17 touchdowns. We're going to lose here. Now, one thing that I never looked up, but I looked up now, is he actually had no game with fewer than 100 yards. He always had at least 100 rushing yards on every game this season, and in one of them even 200. 239 yards against Wake Forest. Unbelievable day. 192 against Pittsburgh was also pretty good. Yeah, he had 100 rushing yards every game, and then also at least a reception per game, or maybe 2. Pretty good. Kamon Rucker, he had 18 sacks and 36 TFLs. We already looked at his numbers. It's just, he was a really good player, and I wanted to show off his career stats. He didn't really have any other stats here. He did have, that's 6 games with more than 1 sack. And one of those games was even 4.5 sacks. That is crazy good. We have Bryson Nesbitt, who had 1,365 yards and 10 touchdowns. We already looked at that, but also his game-by-game stats are pretty interesting. He only had 3 games below 50 yards at all this season, and most of his games were even 100-yard games. Well, not most, about half, I'd say. That's 6 out of 14. That's almost half. Yeah, in the top games, he had 2 touchdowns each. That is really good. Could have involved him even more, I think, especially in that Ohio State game at the end there. And then we have Power Eccles, just looking at the stat line, 192 tackles, 15 TFLs, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. pretty good numbers for a middle linebacker. And then the last guy that's going to be leaving that goes to the NFL is Willie Lampkin. Sadly, the O-line stats are not really tracked, but he only allowed 1 sack all season, and he was definitely our best O-lineman. Now, we did get a recruit here when I simmed ahead, and that is an edge rusher. The first edge rusher we have committed this season, and probably the only one, since I don't have any others on the board, and we already lost out on the other one I tried to recruit. Now we are here at draft results, as Hampton goes round 1 and Rucker round 2 like predicted, but Nesbitt and Lampkin get upgraded, taken in the 5th round, and Power Eccles goes in the 6th round. So we have 5 draftees, and pretty happy for all of them. We did good this season, and it's time to repeat it. We'll see how next season goes. But this is kind of the end of players leaving. We're now getting to the off-season stages. And I did not go after any transfers, but we do get a commit here from Robert O'Connor. He's a running back, and he's a power back. And we just lost 2, so we have to replace them. We also got a safety here in Kareem Fallin. And pretty excited about this entire recruiting class. We did really well. You will see in the future. As Robert Connor, I did scout him. He is a solid running back, 90 speed, 89 acceleration, 87 carrying, 84 trucking, 84 break tackle, and 85 stiff arm. So pretty happy overall, but we do have a better running back recruit with even better running back skills. Now, Greg Barmore, the edge rusher, couldn't show him to you earlier. He has 88 strength at 248. Like, he is really small edge rusher and still has 88 strength. 78 power moves right off the bat, and 84 acceleration is a pretty good first step. Kareem Fallin, the safety, 5'11", 213 out of Gastonia, North Carolina. He is probably not gonna see the field a whole lot early because we already have 2 other safeties recruited, and I think they look a little better. But 83 zone coverage for Kareem Fallin looks pretty good. He has 89 speed, so not quite the athlete that the other 2 safeties are. And then we sim ahead one more stage, and we commit a punter, Shakir Kitchings out of Colonial Heights, Virginia. He looks pretty solid. It's the same thing with punters every year. They kind of look the same thing at all time. Like, some of them have pretty weak legs, but at least this guy has 90 kick power, 68 kick accuracy. That's good enough for me. I'm not gonna try to find somebody with 95 kick power or something. And then at the end, last stage, we get, oh man, I should have looked up his name, Rayshon Faucha, I'm guessing. Out of Las Vegas. So we get a second QB committed onto this team. We already have Jesse Kolkowski, but never hurts to have a second option. And we just lost 2 quarterbacks, so we have to bring in some people. Now, Faucher has 93 throw power, 86 short, 83 medium accuracy. That looks pretty good. But I think that Jesse Kolkowski should be the better player. And now we're at National Signing Day, and Kolkowski, we already looked through this, but he has star dev. We missed out on Nate Tipman, who has elite dev. That's pretty sad. Now, Rayshon Faucha has only impact, so he's a little bit lower on the dev list, but still looks pretty good as a pocket passer. It's just Kolkowski has the athleticism to run, and so I probably will be prioritizing him, but we'll see his ratings later. Kyle Costanzo, Brian Malik, both of those, very excited. They're going to be great running backs. Robert O'Connor is more like a backup for now. Buck Stoner, star dev, our top receiver, probably going to play from day 1. Then we also got Clyde Upshaw, who has elite dev. That's crazy. Darren Pounds has normal dev. I didn't scout this guy. I also didn't scout Marquise Brooks, so I have no idea how good these guys look, but the dev traits don't really tell us they're going to be great players. Now, Leon Sharp, I did scout him. He looks pretty solid. With that 92 speed, but also doesn't have a special dev trait. Now, Ty Burks and Matthew Allegretti are 2 tight ends that I'm bringing in just because we lost 2. They also didn't look super great. The 2 tackles we got in, both impact dev, nothing special. Now, I missed out on Morgan Battle. He has only normal dev. That's okay. We have Ben Bermudez, who has impact dev at center. Fine with that. I would much rather have had Soma Ruse. That's the brother of the other commit we got. We have an Emmanuel Ruse on the team as well. And then we missed out on Joel Clinton, but at least we got Greg Barmore at the end. And then I didn't scout this defensive tackle or this one, but we'll see how good they turn out. We have Jesse Blunt here with normal dev. We have Jason Hepburn with impact dev, and he looks pretty good. Sadly, I lost out on Deshaun Bliss. I would have much rather have Deshaun Bliss than Blunt and Hepburn together, because Bliss looks unbelievable. Moses Riggins has star dev. He's a 5-star corner that I got. We have a couple more 4 stars. Impact dev for Ben Sharp. Star dev for Steven Slate. He looks pretty promising too. And Cassidy Breida looks pretty downright average, I guess. And then Kareem Fallen actually has star dev trait. That is really good news. He kind of looked weaker than the others, and he still does. Emmanuel Ruse has impact elite dev, and then Larry Rowe has star dev with 98 speed. I don't know how I put all 3 of these safeties on the field, but we still have a couple more safeties on the roster that didn't graduate, so we'll see. Now, top classes, we got the #1 class in the country. Great news, because this team definitely needs an influx of talent. We had a very one-dimensional team last year, and we need to change that about this team. Now, position changes. We have 4 athletes that we recruited. Greg Barmore was an edge rusher, and just looking at his overalls, he's an edge rusher. Could be a linebacker. 68 overall is not great though. So he's definitely an edge rusher, no doubt about it. Put him at left end. Now, Brian Malik is a receiver that looked really good. He has 93 speed, 93 acceleration, and already some pretty solid running back skills. And looking at his strongest positions, that's what he is. I know he's good enough for me to put him at safety as well, but he looks so great as a linebacker that I want to see him there as a change of pace back to our other running back that we're going to take a look at in a second. Now, Robert O'Connor has 68 play rec, 73 tackling, 70 hit power, 62 block shed, 76 finesse moves, 69 power moves, 81 pursuit. He's not a linebacker. If you wanted, you could put him at edge rusher, but he's just not polished enough as an edge rusher. So I'm just going to still put him at running back. That's where he belongs, in my opinion. He's a better running back than he's an edge rusher at the moment. And last player we have is a tight end, Ty Burks, who has 79 speed. That's not great. He has some after the catch ability. He can catch the football. That's actually one of his good traits, but 79 speed is just not gonna get you anywhere. And so I wanted to have a look at what he can do on defense. 78 play rec, 85 tackling, 79 hit power, 70 block shed, 72 finesse moves, 61 power moves, 82 pursuit, and his coverage ratings 59, 55, and 69. So you can make an argument here, but he's a 72 overall at linebacker and safety and tight end. So for now, I'm sticking him at tight end, and we'll check out his ratings later. Now, this is training, and I thought we were going to start with Connor Harrell this year for sure. But out of nowhere, last year's true freshman Michael Merdinger shoots up, gets 90, gets over him in overall, and he has already the better arm, 92 throw power, a little bit better, not much, but 92 short accuracy compared to 88. He has 96 medium accuracy compared to 85, and 84 deep accuracy compared to 75. So he is a better quarterback with such a distinction that I decided right then and there, I don't need to see Connor Harrell on the field. We ran an offense with pocket passer as a quarterback last year. I can do it again, and this guy has even better accuracies. So, Michael Merdinger, welcome. You're the new starting quarterback for at least 2 years. Maybe he'll get drafted after that. Well, we'll see. Now, at running back, we did get a little bit of improvement. Caleb Hood looks really good. He got, I think, +7 overall. Louis didn't get much better, and this kid's probably not going to see the field at all, I'm guessing. But Caleb Hood looks pretty solid as a receiver. He doesn't really have the athleticism everybody's looking for. Now, at receiver, best receiver is now Kobe Paysour. He was a 79. Now he's at 83. That's a solid growth, but he's also a great athlete. We have Chris Culliver as a sophomore, because Paysour is a senior. He's going to be gone after next year. But Culliver has 94 speed, and he got a big jump, as did Jordan Shipp. So those three are going to be starting receivers next year. Can already tell you that. That's good enough for me. I just think that Culliver is not great enough as a receiver. Like, that 74 catch and traffic already scares me. And then a bunch of receivers down the depth chart that don't really matter too much. But yeah, those three in the top, they're going to be the starters. Now, Jake Johnson, he got a little bit of a boost. I think he was an 82 before. Now he's an 85. He has 83 speed, 90 acceleration, 92 catching, 86 catch and traffic. I don't need to see anything else. I know that he's going to be the starting tight end. And that's good. Now, we also have a couple more tight ends down the depth chart that don't really have the athleticism at all. And this guy looks pretty awful. Like, it was 71 speed. Are you kidding me? That looks horrible. But the other two are maybe just blockers. We'll see. At left tackle, we get a solid boost. We get Eli Sutton as an 83 overall now. I think he was a 76. So that's a massive boost, but he's a senior, so he's going to be gone after this year. And Sampson, after him, is going to take over. He's now a 78. He got a little bit of a boost, but not much. And then we have two freshman tackle that get their first boost altogether. Doesn't look like anything special, but looks good enough. Now, at left guard, we have a senior and a junior, so they are going to be gone pretty quickly as well. But Malik McGowan, he didn't really go up by much. So that's going to be a weakness. And this is going to be even worse of a weakness. But at least Aiden Banfield, he's a freshman. 75 overall at freshman. And at least he had 85 strength. That looks solid enough. But like, left guard and center are going to be weaknesses this year. Definitely. Zach Rice at right guard. Already knew he was going to be good. He got like a +3 jump. Looks pretty solid. And then right guard, same thing. Right tackle, same situation as left tackle. We have a junior here and a senior, just the other way around. At left guard, left tackle, the senior is the starter. At the right tackle, the junior is the starter. But both of the starters got like a +7 jump, so that's a solid position for now. We have also two freshman tackles coming in from this recruiting class, so that's going to be fine. But the guard situation looks really bad. Now, at left end, we have Bo Atkinson. Got a good jump, 85 overall now. We have Curtis Simpson. He's a freshman. Got also a pretty nice jump. We have Mali Hamrick. Haven't ever heard of him before. He looks like a solid edge rusher, but this is not going to be the same thing we had last year. That's just not going to be the same thing. We are not going to have a great pass rush this year. But I think it's going to be solid. Appropriate for the ACC, I'd say. And then we had a massive jump. Biggest winner of the training is Travis Shaw. I have no idea what his development was earlier, but I think he made a 10+ overall jump, probably 12 or 13 points. This guy had a massive leap, and he has 95 strength. And then Starlings has 99 strength and is an 81 overall. So the interior looks now a lot better than last year, but our edge rushers look worse than last year. We'll see how this is all gonna fit together. But none of these guys is a senior. So they're going to stay probably except Shaw, because I'm assuming that Shaw is probably going to get drafted next year. And then at linebacker, that was the most disappointing position. We have almost no jump for J. Brown Harvey. I think that's a +2 overall. Woods and Short maybe had a +1 or +2, but not much. And then Murray Shipp, I don't think he had a boost at all. I'm not sure, but these are also not great athletes. So I'm not sure if I I'm that happy with this linebacker core. We had Power Eccles last year and he ruled, and it doesn't even matter who was his second guy. But Caleb Lavalley, I think he played pretty well last year, and I think as one of the best athletes in that linebacker room, he might be the number 2 this year again. We'll have to take a look at the freshman later, but for now. And then at corner, Marcus Allen sadly didn't go up by a lot. He's now an 85 overall as a true senior, but he's still going to be the number 1, and he was pretty locked down last year, so that's pretty good. Now Dorian Green made a little bit of a jump, 81 overall now. He's a solid athlete with solid coverage ability. And then Caleb Cost and Tyrone Stewart are 79s. This is good enough. I'm happy about this. I can live with that. That's good. Those 4 corners are solid enough for the ACC. We should survive. But it's also not great. And then a bunch more corners that don't really matter that much to me, but kind of disappointed that Marcus Allen didn't really take a big jump this year. Now, at safety, we have Jaden Patterson, 99 speed, 98 acceleration. That kid looks unreal. It doesn't even matter what the other corners look like, but this Jaden Patterson guy, he's a redshirt freshman, and he has 99 speed over the top. That is unbelievable. Now, we have also a strong safety here in DeAndre Boykins, who is an 83 overall. He played a little bit of backup safety and slot corner slash dime linebackers stuff last year. That he looks really good. Pretty good athlete as well. Very polished. He's gonna start. And then we have a kicker here in Liam Boyd, 89 kick power, 74 kick accuracy, nothing special. And then a punter, Tom McGinnis, one of the best punters in the country, 86 kick power, 79 accuracy. That's fine. Now we have to get rid of 5 players, and all 5 of those have one thing in common. They are not high up on the depth chart, and they're not great athletes. And that 86 speed, 89 acceleration, he's not gonna play. We have better players that are definitely gonna play ahead of him. Same goes for Paul Billups, 87 speed, 88 acceleration. There is people that are younger and better than him, so he's never gonna play. He's never gonna see the field. Same thing here for Deems May. He just looks awful. 71 speed. No reason to keep this guy on the roster. He looks like a walk-on, honestly. Now, we also are going to get rid of a linebacker here, Gibson McRae. He's already a senior, and he's not going to play over Lavalley or Campbell. So, and that 76 speed at linebacker, that's just way too slow. And then we also have a safety that's a junior and way worse than 3 freshmen. Redshirt freshmen, that is, but like still. 87 speed, he's the worst athlete in that safety room. So I'm sorry to see people leaving here, but we have to do it. Now, let's break down this roster. We're going to start out with our new franchise quarterback, I guess. 6'2", 210 out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Michael Merdinger, who has 96 medium accuracy and 92 short, 92 throw power. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And this guy still has a lot of room to grow. I'm really excited about him. He does not have great speed, but we already had that with Max Johnson last year. We're probably going to get sacked a few times more than last year because of our O-line situation. But Connor Harrell, I would have loved to maybe give him a chance somewhere else, but I can't cut him because then we don't have enough quarterbacks to be able to redshirt the freshman we just got. He's just not as accurate. He does have the speed. I would have liked to implement the Sam Howell offense, where there's a lot of read option or QB keepers and stuff, but he's gonna ride the bench now. Now, Rayshon Foucher actually turns out as a higher overall than Jesse Kolkowski. So that looks pretty good. He has 83 medium, 77 deep, and 86 short. Looks pretty solid for a starter. He has 93 throw power. That's maxed out. The accuracy is also almost maxed out. That's not great to see, but he does have some room to grow. He's just the same thing as Merdinger, a pure pocket passer. Also doesn't really have great abilities. Now Jesse K, 6'1", 213 out of Oxon Hill, Maryland. with Stardev. He has 94 throw power. He has the big arm. He does have good accuracies across the board. He can run. He's a really dynamic athlete. That deep accuracy scares me a little bit. 75 is on the lower end, what I want, but looks pretty solid. He does have pretty good speed. I think it was 86. Yes, 86 and 90 acceleration. I'm looking at him as the future, but we'll see. We have Merdinger for now, and he could start 4 years in a row if he wants to. Now, Caleb Hood is our top-rated running back now, and he has 87 juke, 76 spin, 88 break tackle. He has pretty solid hands. That's really good to know because he is gonna be the receiving back this year. We're gonna have a two-headed monster this year, and he's gonna play, but more of a receiving back role. That route running is not great, but it's also not horrible. And yeah, his power is just not there. He just can't do the same things we had with Amari and Hampton. He's only 86 speed though. Might be replaced pretty soon, but for now he has the lead back role. Now, the receiving back role. The lead back role goes to Kyle Costanzo, a true freshman who looks unreal. 86 trucking, 89 stiff arm, 85 strength with solid hands. Or at least the carrying. The catching is pretty awful, but it's also not going to get a whole lot better. He's a pure power back. He's not going to produce much in the receiving game, but he also can juke out people if he wants to. It's not great, but 86 break tackle already sounds great. And he has, watch out, 93 speed as a power back with 230. The other running back we recruited that I'm pretty hyped up is Brian Malik. 5'11", 185. Very small, but he has already, right off the bat, 83 juke and 80 spin move, 79 break tackle, 84 carrying is good enough. He has 75 catching and 75 catch and traffic. If I'm not happy with Caleb Hood, he might be the receiving back. We'll see about that, but he's a great route runner as well. And he has the ability to be a receiver as well. And this guy has also 93 speed, 93 acceleration, great athlete. Those two running backs we recruited, they are going to tear it up. And that makes me sad to see Robert O'Connor be the odd man out, kind of. He's also a power back, 85 stiff arm. But the strength in the trucking is just not as high as for Kyle Costanzo here. Looks pretty good, like just on paper or like in a vacuum, he looks really good. And he's even, I don't know, I think he's less capped than Kyle Costanzo, honestly. So we might see something change there. But he has just not the same athleticism. 90 speed is still very solid, but 93 speed is even better. And then our top receiver this year is going to be Kobe Paysor. He's going to be on the field at all times. He's the number one receiver in 11 or 10 personnel. He's playing the slot as a number one. He is a good short and medium route runner. His deep route running is lagging a little bit behind, and his release is only 77. But he has great catching and great catch and traffic. That's a slot receiver, definitely. And he also, like 89 speed, is not going to beat you downfield. So he's also not a deep threat. He's definitely the slot receiver. Now Chris Culliver, on paper, the number 2 receiver on this team. But, as you'll see in a second, he is not a great route runner. It's solid, but not great. And his hands are 74 catch and traffic, 81 catching. That's kind of on the low end compared to the other receivers. He's a great running back if you want to turn him into one. But he does not really have the size to be a running back. And, or the mass. He has the speed. He is going to be on the field. He's a deep threat. But he's not going to get a ton of receptions, I think. Now, one guy that is going to get a ton of reception is going to be Jordan Shipp. He's going to be the number 1 outside receiver, I think. I'm not sure yet, but he's going to split the role with somebody else. As the 2 outside receivers, he's going to be one of them. And he knows how to break a few tackles if he wants to. But he's a redshirt freshman. And his route runnings are honestly not great, but that catching rating, 89 catching, 79 catch and traffic, I think that's a good combination for him to be a solid outside receiver with 89 speed. That's good enough. Now that I look at it, I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver because the number 1 is going to be Buck Stoner. He looks incredible as a true freshman. I just brought him in. 85 release right off the get-go. He knows how to get off the line. He has great catching ratings. He looks unbelievable. And he even can break tackles. He's 6'3" and he has 94 speed. This guy is going to be the number 1. Ship is going to be the number 2. Pacer is going to be the slot. And Culliver is going to get rotated in on both inside and outside. We'll see. Now, Marquise Brooks also looks unbelievable. Just not as unbelievable as Buck Stoner. Now, because he's kind of capped. He doesn't really have the same power, but he's a great route runner right off the get-go. He has great hands and some really solid elusiveness, 93 speed, really good. It's just Buck Stoner has a higher depth trait, and that's why I decided Stoner is going to play and Marquise Brooks is going to be redshirted this year. Another receiver that we're going to redshirt this year is going to be Leon Sharp, who has just a 75 overall. He looked also pretty solid. I think I scouted him. Those catching ratings look really good. He's just not a route runner at all right now, and he's also not a great athlete like Buck Stoner is. So he's going to be redshirted as well. Somebody else that we're going to redshirt is Darren Pounds, 6'2", 210. That's really good size at receiver, but it is also good size at another position. We'll talk about that in a second, but as you can already see, he's almost capped out, and that 68 deep route running is not going to do it for me at receiver. I've already shown you 3 other receivers that look better than him, and Darren Pounds is not going to develop at receiver. And he also is the worst athlete out of those 4 we have seen so far. And he's actually also a worse athlete than Clyde Upshaw. So we're going to talk about Darren Pounds in a second again, but Clyde Upshaw, he has elite dev, and he's a really good running back right off the bat, but his receiving ability is kind of uncapped. I'm curious to see where it goes. This kid looks really good. It's just sad that he starts so low at 69 overall, but he can develop a whole lot, and I'm expecting him to be playing a role next year. This year he's going to be redshirted. Now, Jake Johnson is a great tight end. Catching ratings in the high 80s and low 90s. There is nothing to be afraid of here. The route running doesn't seem great or anything, but he looks very good as a pass catcher. 83 speed is enough, I guess. I think Bryson Nesbitt was a little bit better of an athlete, but looks pretty good to me still. That Johnson kid. Now, Matthew Allegretti is a player we drafted, and I drafted him blind, I think. Oh no, I didn't draft him blind, but I did not see his speed rating. And you're gonna be shocked in a second. He's a 75 overall right off the bat. He looks really great as a blocker, but I did not expect that a tight end could have such low speed. 69 speed? That's just awful, and I can't convert him anywhere because he was recruited as a tight end. He doesn't have a single other position I can convert him to. Maybe O-line, but then he's an O-lineman at 230. That's just not enough. Now, Ty Burks, on the other hand, 72 overall. He is the better athlete, definitely. He also knows how to catch the football, but he's almost capped. He's not going to develop as a receiver. So he's going to stay at like his max is, I think, a 76 overall or something. So the 2 tight ends I recruited are kind of worthless. I don't think we're going to use them. As tight ends at least. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Now, our top O-lineman here at left tackle is going to be Eli Sutton. He's going to be the starter. Pretty solid athlete. He's an okay run blocker. His pass blocking is better. Really solid. That's pretty good as a franchise left tackle, I want to say. Now, we also recruited a tackle last year. We recruited 2 of them. You're going to see the other one in a second. But Johnny Barr, his caps look really good. He's almost not capped at all. The only thing that's capped a little bit here is the pass blocking. That's pretty disappointing. But everything else I'm very fine with. He's already a great pass blocker, and he can get a little bit better. But I he's not going to get to the 90s, I think. And then the strength, he's at 82 right now. That's not good, but he has still 2 more points of power to put in there, so maybe he gets better. His run blocking is abysmal. He's not going to start at all. He's going to be redshirted. Starter at left guard is going to be Malik McGowan, who has great strength. He is maxed out as a run blocker, and that is pretty terrible, but his pass blocking has some upside. Maybe he can develop over the course of this season and get at least a little bit better, but I'll assume that he is going to be the main weakness on this offense. The other one is going to be Aiden Banfield. There is one difference between those two guys, and I think that's because Banfield is a center, and you can always kind of hide a center, but you can never hide a guard. And he's maxed as a run blocker. He's not going to get a whole lot better. His pass blocking is solid and can get better. That's good. But we have Ben Bermudez, just recruited last year. I think he's going to take over next year after his freshman season, I'm assuming. Because he was a 4-star, he has impact dev, and his caps look really good. He is already a good pass blocker and can get a lot better. I think he can get to the high 90s at pass blocking. And we have a 81 strength O-lineman here that has still 5 bars to go up, so he can get to the 90s there as well, I think. And his run blockings, while looking abysmal, he has 7 bars to fill that up into what I'm assuming is going to be low 80s at his cap. Now, Zach Rice is going to be the best O-lineman we have at right guard. He has 94 strength. He's a really good run blocker. I think we're going to run behind him a lot this season with Kyle Costanzo. But he's also a pretty solid pass protector. Not great or anything, but solid enough to not make him a weakness. And that's a position that's for now been solved. And I think he's also only a junior. Just like Trevion Green, whose name I butchered all of last season. I always thought he was named Trayvon Green, but it's actually Trevion. Now, he's a great pass protector and can still get better. He does have really solid strength and one weakness. 94 strength is really good, but the weakness is run blocking, and it's not going to get better. His caps are really bad at that. So I'm not sure what his ceilings are, but this kid might take over next year, maybe. Spencer Dog, 6'5", 322. Great caps. In my opinion, the only cap that's kind of a little bit annoying is the pass blocking cap, but he looks really balanced right now already, and he can get a lot better than what he's right now. He actually might be one player to convert to guard if that's at all necessary. If we have a shortage there, if I can't get some guards this year because I didn't recruit any guards last season, they got taken away from me, I might consider moving Doc to guard. Now, let's go to the defense. We're here with Bo Atkinson, 91 power moves, 86 strength, 80 block shedding, 83 finesse moves. What more do you want? I don't think he's going to be as good as Kamon Rucker, but I think he's going to be good enough to produce a double-digit sack season, just like Desmond Evans did last year. We have recruited one edge rusher as true freshman last year, and that kid looks pretty good already off the bat. 78 power moves, 88 strength. That run blocking needs a little work, but doesn't look horrible at least. And 79 finesse moves also looks pretty good. Like, he's already a great pass rusher, and we're gonna redshirt him, so he's gonna be even better next year. I'm excited about this kid, dude. Greg Barmore, watch out for him next season. Mali Hamrick is gonna be the other edge rusher, and that's where I think we'll have to drop off. Because if Atkins is gonna be as good as Desmond Evans was, Hamrick is never gonna be as good as Kamon Rucker was. 93 finesse moves looks really good though. I have to admit, he looks great, just purely finesse and power moves. But the rest looks pretty awful. He doesn't have any strength. He's more of a linebacker, honestly, from his profile. And he has only 61 block shedding. So he's not gonna be a great run stopper, and we need that. A great run stopper is, however, going to be Travis Shaw, who had a massive jump this offseason. I could not believe that when I saw it. He has 99 block shed. 95 strength, 87 power moves. I think he's gonna be dominating. 73 finesse moves isn't great, but considering what else he has to offer, that's pretty good. Now, the second defensive tackle we're going to talk about here is Joel Starlings. I don't think we are going to have much of a rotation. These two are clearly the best defensive tackles we have, and none of the others can really fill a specific role or anything. He has 85 power moves, 99 strength. Joel Starlings looks unreal. That 57 finesse moves looks pretty horrible, but 85 power moves, I just hope he doesn't try to pull off a spin, and I think we're fine. That's good. Now, we also recruited 2 defensive tackles from high school last year. Dylan Jerry is one of them. 6'3", 290 out of, I think it was Maryland. And 75 block shedding is okay. 91 strength is pretty good, but it's not going to get better. That 69 power moves and 62 finesse moves, however, have me worried. The good thing is, both of those can be upgraded massively. There is a lot of room to grow for him. He's going to be redshirted this year. He's definitely not ready to play, but I'm very happy to see that he is going to be able to turn himself into something if he does put in the work. Now, Elijah Vernon doesn't really have the same room to grow. He's a solid run stopper at the moment. 88 strength, not as great as a run stopper. I think Dylan Jerry is definitely the better player, but he still does have some room to grow, and we might see him maybe get to the mid-80s for overall, I think. He's also going to be redshirted, obviously. J. Braun Harvey is going to be the left outside linebacker. Really good run stopper. Not a great athlete, but we really don't have great linebacking situation right now. And that pass coverage, 78 zone coverage is actually not great, but it's one of the better ones on the team. Now, Jason Hepburn is somebody that I recruited, and that kid looks like something else, man. He's very raw at the moment. He's a coverage archetype linebacker. 72 zone coverage is not going to cut it at the moment. We have better players for that. And he's also not like good enough as a run stopper for now. So he's going to be redshirted this season, but I want that speed on the field next year. And I hope he develops in the offseason. Ashton Woods is going to be the number 1 linebacker on this team. He is the best player, but he's nowhere near where Power Echols was. He is, you can't really send him on blitzes. He's not going to win there. He has solid run stopping, but also nothing special. And 72 zone coverage is also not great. At least he is one of the better athletes we have at the linebacker position. I also recruited a freshman, another one, Jesse Blunt, 6'1", 240. And he looks really good if his cap weren't so restrictive. He can rush the passer. He can send them on blitzes, I think. That might be a good idea, but that run stopping abilities really is not there, and the zone coverage is actually pretty awful. He is a great athlete, however, so I'm excited to see that. It's just he's not going to grow a whole lot. Caleb Lavalley, we saw him last year. We're going to see him again this year. He has one of the better coverages on the team, and he is one of the best athletes at the position. And he's also not real. I mean, it's not great. He's a great pass rusher, by the way, also. He's a good blitzer. His run-stopping ability is not horrible, and that already qualifies him as one of our best linebackers. Our top corner is going to be Marcus Allen. He sadly didn't really develop this offseason. That's really sad to see. But he has 84 man coverage, 80 press, 82 catching, and really good zone coverage as well. 81 and 86 play rec is pretty good. And he's a really solid athlete. This is his final season. He is a true senior, and I'm not going to redshirt him. He's definitely the best we have out there. 90 speed should be enough. Dorian Green is going to be the number 2, and he's very slim. He's going to be an outside corner because I can't play that slim stature in the middle of the field. He's a solid man cover corner. His zone coverage lags behind a lot, and his run stopping is pretty abysmal. But he's a good athlete, and he's going to be the number 2 outside, replacing Elijah Huzzy from last year. He's going to be covering number 1 receivers. Caleb Cost, 5'11", 195. You're looking at your slot corner. He has good man coverage. His hands are pretty awful. He doesn't really have great zone coverage, but he knows how to tackle a little bit better than the other guys, and that what makes him the slot corner. He also has pretty good athleticism over the middle of the field. That's something that can be very valuable. Now, Moses Riggins is going to be on the field as well. Actually, no, hang on. I think I decided that I'm not going to play. I'm not sure. I might have redshirted him, but he looks absolutely great. He's just not really ready to play yet, but he's getting there. And his athleticism is sky high. His ceiling is sky high, but he's just not ready as a run defender yet. So I think I redshirted him, just like I did with all the other corners that we're going to talk about in a second. Steven Slate. He's the second best corner I recruited last year, a 4-star. He already looks great in man coverage. He looks pretty horrible in zone coverage. Not really ready as a run defender, but that 97 speed, we'll see that probably on the field next year. Then I also recruited Ben Sharp, 6'1", 187 out of Tappahannock, Virginia. As a 4-star receiver, 4-star corner with okay man coverage, pretty bad hands, pretty mediocre zone coverage. Actually, no, that's actually pretty bad. 67 zone coverage is really bad. He's definitely not going to play, but he has a very good caps. He is basically almost unlimited. I think he can grow a lot to be a really good corner. And then we have Cassidy Breida, 6'2", 184 out of Newport, Kentucky. He feels like a outside corner for the future. He has 83 zone coverage, which looks really good, but the play rec and awareness is just not there. He has really bad hands, and the man coverage looks actually solid. The run stopping does not. Actually, 71 man coverage is actually not solid, now that I think about it. And then 66 tackling is also not ready. But he's a great athlete, and really happy about the future at corner. Also really happy about the future at safety. 80 overall, Larry Rowe. Probably one of the best players of his entire recruiting class. He's basically unlimited potential. 73 zone, 80 man coverage right off the bat, looks pretty good. I think we're going to play a little bit more man coverage this year, now that I'm looking at it. Actually can catch the football a little bit, but that 98 speed though. Now the thing is, I did redshirt him. I put the red shirt on him because we have Jaden Patterson, who is on paper a lower overall player, but looks a little bit more ready to me. He has the better pursuit and tackling. And at safety, that's something important, especially with our linebacking group. That's really a hit or miss. His coverages are kind of similar to what we saw with Larry Rowe. I think Rowe is a little bit better in coverage, but geez, why would I put Larry Rowe on the field if I have Jaden Atkinson and 99 speed, man? That kid looks unreal. A starter at strong safety is not debatable at all. He's definitely our best safety on the entire roster. DeAndre Boykins. He was playing last year a lot. He had an interception and I think a forced fumble as well. Is okay in coverage, but he's pretty good in run support, and he's a really good athlete as well. And his play rec and awareness is so much higher than what we've seen from the other corners. Safeties, I mean. So Boykins is definitely going to start. We'll see how it goes with the 99 speed guy. If it doesn't work out, I might put out Larry Rowe there, but for now he's going to be redshirted, just like this guy, Emmanuel Ruse. He is almost limitless uncapped. He looks really good. He's a great athlete. His coverage ratings are already really solid. Just his run support is lagging behind, and also his play rec and awareness. And then that was a 78 overall safety, and then we have another 78 overall safety here in Kareem Fallon. So we recruited 3 safeties that were 80, 78, and 78 overall. That is ridiculous. Fallon is a good coverage corner. His run defense actually looks pretty good right off the bat, but his man coverage is pretty awful. and he's not the greatest athlete. But that 89 speed could turn into the 90s as well. He has some room to grow there. Now at kicker, we're going to go with Liam Boyd. He's a redshirt junior. That's fine. I'm just going to recruit a kicker this year as well. 89 kick power. Kick accuracy is lagging a little bit behind, but I think it's fine. He's just an average kicker. What do you want? I'm not going to try to recruit the 99 kick power kid. That takes way too much work. Tom McGuinness is going to be one of the better punters. He's from Australia, from the land down under, and he was a former one-star who has 86 kick power and 79 kick accuracy. That's fine. I can live with that. That's okay. And we're gonna be able to play our style of offense this year, and I don't think we're gonna have to punt it very much. Shakir Kitchings is a punter I recruited last year because McGuinness is a senior and he's gonna be gone next year. So I wanted to get a kicker in here, or a punter in here. 90 kick power, 68 kick accuracy. Already looks very solid as a kicker or punter. I'm fine with that. This kid's gonna be good next year. And then I made two changes. Two players. Darren Pounds, as a receiver, has no caps to grow. I think he had like one cap open or two. And that's why I decided to look at his ratings. And the only other position he can play is running back. Now, he is a lower overall at running back right now than he would be at receiver. But he does have enough speed, and he has a lot more caps here to grow as a running back. I think he's going to make a solid receiving back, but for now, he's going to be redshirted. And then the other player was tight end Ty Burks. Now, Alec Reddy was the other tight end that looked pretty awful, but I can't put him anywhere else. I can put Ty Burks somewhere else, and that is at edge rusher. 72 finesse moves, 61 block shedding, 61 power moves, and 70 block shedding. I think he has a lot more room to grow there, and he might be a starter a few years down the road. Now, let's have a look at the schedule. We're gonna start the season again against Charlotte. We're gonna play at their place this time. Now, we're gonna play against Wyoming, South Carolina, and Washington State. South Carolina is a rivalry game, and the other ones I kind of assigned randomly. And then we have conference play, Stanford and California first, the two weird teams, and then Duke, rivalry game, Syracuse, Wake Forest is another rivalry game, Clemson, and then two more rivalry games at the end against Virginia and NC State. So again, the season finale is going to be against NC State, and that's going to be the toughest game in the schedule, I think. We're not going to face Florida State or Miami this year in the regular season. Now for All-Americans, we don't really have anybody on the national level. I'm just going to go through these just to make sure that... yeah, you're going to see everybody here. Ruben Bain is somebody that you can pay attention to. That kid looks really good. But we're not going to play him this year. We don't really see a bunch. We have a defensive tackle here, Clemson. Peter Woods, we're going to face that kid this year. And then I don't recognize any other team that we're going to play. From the preseason second team, there is... No, we don't face Georgia or Tennessee. Georgia, Oregon, Miami down there at right guard. Inez Cooper, the right guard. That's somebody we're going to face. And I think that's probably it. Maybe there's a Clemson player down there, but I kind of doubt it. Oh, there's a Stanford corner down there at the list. Colin Wright. So that's somebody we're going to face, but we're going to not see Florida State this year or Miami. So I think this is actually a pretty easy conference schedule this year. Now let's take a look at the ACC, because we're going to face a lot of these players. Jake Johnson, first team All-American for the preseason. And yeah, I think he's going to be great. But I also think he's going to be the only one here. Maybe Marcus... No, I don't think Marcus Allen made this list. We have a bunch of players from Clemson on this list, which makes me kind of scared of Clemson. That's also going to be a tough game then. But yeah. From the others... Oh, that corner is there again. Colin Wright. We're going to see that kid again. And yeah, They have a second-team receiver as well here in Tyler Brown. So Clemson looks really good. They have a left guard. We have a right guard, Zach Rice, the only other player on the offense that's gotten on one of these All-American teams. And then on defense, we're gonna have Travis Shaw. There's a bunch of Florida players, Florida State players. I'm so happy we're not gonna face Florida State. That is very lucky. But there is 2 more Clemson DBs and a linebacker for NC State. So those 2 teams are gonna be very tough to face. And then DeAndre Boykins and our punter made it on this preseason second team. So that's pretty great news. And yeah, we are ranked number 2 going into the season. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and subscribe for more Tar Heels Dynasty. I'm very, very excited about this year. We have actually, I think, a similarly competitive team like last year. The O-line is not going to be as good as last year, I think, but we do have a couple exciting players on offense that I want to talk about here. In the quarterback, Michael Merdinger, we have a true freshman running back in Kyle Costanzo that's going to make a lot of noise, I think. And then Buck Stoner at receiver, that's going to be pretty good as well. He's going to be the number 1 on the outside. And then Jordan Shipp is going to be the number 2 on the outside, and Paysor in the middle. That looks really good to me. We have a great tight end. The O-line looks a little bit weaker. I think the D-line is going to be at the same strength as last year, but just not going to be as good on the edge, but better on the interior. So yeah, and then for linebacker, that linebacker room is really weak. That makes me really scared, but we'll see. We might be having a problem in run defense. We'll see. And then at DB, I think we're set. That's a solid DB room. It could be better, and it is going to be next year, but this year I think we're still solid. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Tar Heels Dynasty. See you in the next episode. Until then, have a great day.